Good morning. We're back after Christmas chaos and time, so good to see you and good to be back to normal schedules again. Even though it's still that week between Christmas and New Year's where everything just feels surreal and not regular and no man's landy. Anyway, so yeah, figured I'm here, I'm ready to go. It's about 2 minutes early, but should be good. And we're gonna keep working away at this painting today. It's coming along. A lot of the stuff I'm getting to be pretty happy with a lot of what's happening in the face. Every time I really sit and look at it, I'm like, oh, I could fix this or fix that. But getting really close to being where I want with that. Work on the tattoo, and I have more to come here in background. And really gonna try to not bang around the microphone today because that's good for nobody. But yeah, I hope everybody had wonderful holidays if you were celebrating this year. I had too many cookies, as usual, so now I need to like completely sugar detox, but not coffee detox. Coffee is the only thing that makes me go some days, at least in the mornings. So I hope you have your coffee or whatever you need to start your day. And we're going to get started. I did pull out one of my old, I think it was a Better Homes and Gardens magazine yesterday, and I found a couple things that I'm going to add on that I cut out. One is, let's see if this camera will pick it up well. You see this little guy that's like, let me get my way. Yeah. Like an old school man of the house guy, right? He's going on here, and I love it because totally out of context. Doesn't it look like he's about to just slap somebody? And I think that's kind of perfect. Ironically, it was for some kind of Christmas advertisement where his kid was next to him playing with a paper airplane, so I think he's doing like a room kind of a thing, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. And then I just cut out this little piece of text that I'm also going to use. It's probably harder to see. Something shines through it. And it says, break resistant. It was an advertisement for plates. Your wife a set of dishes for Christmas. And also a scale and also a vacuum, if you are to believe that magazine. Okay. It was 1950. What am I going to do? That's why I love those, because they're so ridiculous and awful. So this is going to go, and I kind of would like to find a few more little things sort of like that. Break resistant. It's going to go on her, like in her hair. So with the title of this piece being Thanks, but I already saved myself, I want it to be about like that kind of, I guess, resilience, that like, I'm still here, I'm not going anywhere. I've battled my own demons, I've had to, kind of a thing. The big bad wolf. One of the very last things I'm going to be doing is using some paint markers to draw in a few elements. But that I would like to get some more layers and paint down over here before I do that. And I considered doing something with transfer print, but I haven't yet determined what that would be. So I'm still kind of deciding. Good morning, Jim. Good to see you. Glad you're back in here with me today. Hope you had a good holiday. Back to the rigmarole. Is that a thing people still say? I don't know. Okay, so that's gonna go. I want to find a few more phrases. I'm gonna have to pull out a few more old magazines and look at, excuse me, the ads on them to find what I'm looking for, but that's what I am. I'd like to just have some of that that'll kind of peek through on her hair. All right, I've got my pH neutral adhesive. I'm just gonna go crazy, do what I hate doing, and just use my fingers to apply this because this stuff is awful when you get it on your hands, but that's what we're going with today. Okay. And you gotta be careful once you get any glue on old or even new certain collage materials like magazine paper is very fragile. So once it has some moisture in it, it will tear and pull apart very easily. So that is a thing that you just have to be kind of like aware of that in the way that you deal with it. It kind of becomes delicate. So, oh, I don't have, let me get my other chat going up here. Where is, see, I thought that I was all there. Nope, nope. I thought I was ready to go. And I always miss some silly thing. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm prepared. There we have it. All right. More so than usual, to be fair. Did have a week off, but it was a chaotic week. Good, but chaotic. Okay. All right, that one's on. And now I gotta decide where to put this guy. And I don't really want him to overlap. I don't want any of this kind of the imagery to overlap with her. I want it to be separate. Like deliberately separate. Maybe kind of up in here, he can overlap a little bit with that phrase. It's just going back to the Little Red Riding Hood kind of thing that I'm looking at. Rougers, hello! Good evening to you, or morning on this side. Good to see you. I hope you had a really good holiday. But when you commented on one of my videos, I said, happy Boxing Day yesterday. I think that I read that Australia does Boxing Day. I really only knew recently what that even was. I heard the term and then I decided to look up what that really was or meant, and so yeah. That's where I thought I read that in Australia they also celebrate. Okay. So back to that idea of the Little Red Riding Hood story. Originally, that story, even before the Grimm brothers wrote it, was sort of a lesson for girls that was about like it was a little bit of stranger danger kind of a thing, but more in a don't get seduced, don't become you know, unsavory because somebody seduced you to behave that way, or that would be the thought. Like, it's very judgmentally in terms of women's behavior. That's one level to it, depending on which cultural strain you're looking at, and the other one is more of like a beware of strangers and dangerous people and dangerous situations where you're going to be fooled. It's a little bit of both. I mean, originally, before I think the Grimm brothers wrote it after, who was the French author that wrote it down? None of them came up with a story. The story existed already. It starts with a P, Prouet or something like that. I think that's wrong. Actually, I'm certain that's wrong. I just made it up off the top of my head, but it starts with a P. They made Little Red Riding Hood a young girl, whereas in a lot of the original tellings of the folklore stories, it would have been a young lady. Yeah, we do Boxing Day big time here. How's the fam? Family's good. My partner's dad has been home before Christmas. He was out of hospital. He's good. My uncle is still in the care center. They thought he might go home this day. I think they thought he might go home today, the 28th. But there's been a complication in his recovery, so they're pushing it back a little bit. He's just been in not the greatest health for a little while, but you never know where things are gonna go, and we always hope for the best. But we're about to see him last Friday before Christmas. Got to see him for a little bit. Not very close by. Nobody's seems to be ever very close. I don't have much family. I have a these days, very small family. It's primarily my mom and my sister and I. And there is some more extended-ish family that's around, but the closest ones are an hour away from my mom, who is an hour away from me. And this uncle is lives like 2 hours away from my mom. So, him, I think, right about here. There we go. I put more thought into these little guys. Sometimes I just will choose something because I like the texture and color for the piece, but a lot of times it's about amplifying the story of it a little bit, adding suggestions, whether through humor or usually kind of dark humor, but just the meaning that I have of the painting. They just sort of will add a little element to that. So I'm actually pretty deliberate in how I pick things, even though there's plenty of times where they get very well covered up to the point that you don't even know maybe sometimes they get completely covered up. That has happened. And I refer to that as being like an inside joke of knowing what was there. As long as I remember, because I forget everything. But yeah, I hope. What do you do for Boxing Day? Like, it sounds like it's become a big shopping holiday in some places. Kind of like Black Friday is here in the US. So, like, after Christmas shop, like, I don't want to step foot in a store for a very long time, preferably. So, I don't know. But I guess if you need things and those things happen to be a very good deal, then, you know, you don't get it. Okay. So that's good, actually. Just that little bit of addition helps a lot there. It's not black, it's like a dark purple. It needs to be broken up. Definitely needs to be broken up. But yeah, outside of the hair and some of the blue here, that's where I've mixed in some cobalt blue, everything here is just 4 colors on my palette. And you can kind of see, this is my old palette from last time. Everything's dried up, but Payne's Gray, Quinacridone Red, which I always think I'm saying some of these names wrong, Yellow Oxide, and White. That's my palette for this piece. Yeah, your Black Friday is our Boxing Day. How people have money after Christmas, though, I have no idea, right? Seriously. Really glad to hear about your family. Hope you had a good Christmas, too. I'll head over to YouTube and give a like. Oh, thank you. So Aeroset on YouTube, hello. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Nothing too crazy. We spent Christmas Eve with my partner's family and then Christmas Day with mine. It's a little driving around, but it's always good. It's more relaxed. Like, a lot of times in the past, I can say, well, like with my family, there's a lot to it because it's usually entertaining lots of people, or has often been the way. So it's like a little more formal and in some parts of it and such. But this time it was just the 4 of us and it was very relaxed, and we had wonderful food. My mom's a terrific cook. And like I said, too many cookies. Too many cookies. But, oh, I have one of the thing that's funny. It happens to be in my studio, so I can share with you guys. This mug that my sister bought me. I just want to be a stay-at-home cat mom. It cracks me up. I know my cat, that's all he wants. He just wants me to stay home with him all day, to spend time with him. That would make him very happy. Okay, so now I can probably start breaking out the paints. I don't have any more little bits cut out yet, but I do mean to do some digging and find some more things. Maybe even just some tiny bits of texture that I start putting in here, but I can also paint in some things as well. But it's going to work a little bit more in the hand, perhaps. And there's just a couple little areas in her face and neck that I want to address before I go in and start doing some detail work on this tattoo design. So we're gonna get there. I'm excited. Okay, let's get some paints down. All right. I'm just gonna use... No, I shouldn't. I should put it in the brush. This is so old and so brittle that, like, you just look at it funny and it starts to break. The whole pad is so horribly, like, weavy. What's the word for that? I can't remember. Or the paper buckles. I'm totally blanking. And I think I was trying to come up with it like a week ago and I still can't. Usually it'll be like that night later on or 5 hours later. I'll just be like, ding, there's that thing I couldn't remember. But no, it's just gone. Doing all right. Just doing some sketching. Probably going to crash soon, but wanted to say hi. Hope you had a great Christmas, Jim. Yeah. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. I think one really good moment was that we got my partner's oldest niece, our niece. Well, she's the oldest around us here. We got her a guitar, a classical guitar, because she started taking a class. Her high school offers 1 semester in learning to play guitar. And she took that and loved it, aced the exam, final, whatever. So getting her own guitar to start with and play was really, really fun. And her reaction is great, and it makes us happy. Yeah, that's it. I like shopping for the kids, especially now that they're, you know, not kids anymore and they have their own distinct interests outside of toys and stuff like that, you know. Then they're just like, they're becoming their own people. I mean, they have been becoming their own people, but it just is so cool to watch them become these amazing human beings. And man, Nirvana back with the youth for real. Kind of crazy. We went down this weird rabbit hole yesterday, when we're kind of just relaxing in the evening. It was matting my paint, acrylic medium retarder gel. Slows down the drying of the acrylics. A YouTube channel, which... It's terrible, I'm not going to be able to pull it out right now what the name of it is. But it's a guy who does these weird mashups of, like, old pop songs in the styles of, like, rock bands. And it was really well done and absolutely ridiculous. And that was our rabbit hole yesterday for amusement. Jim, yesterday I got a dozen more logs from the Chicago tree trimming crew. Nice. They were down the street and loaded their trailer with what I selected and deposited them at my house. Oh, nice. I've been doing a lot of sawing. Very cool. I know also in this, oftentimes in the spring, a lot of the park districts, after they do some of that dealing with their old cut stuff, will give out free mulch. All you gotta do is like drive a truck up and they'll load it up for you. If that's a thing. I don't have a yard, so it's not much consequence to me, nor a fireplace or anything. Nor a garage to do work in, but one day, I hope. Because I think I would... When I was in college, I took this class called Space Forms. This was a foundations class freshman year. And what that was learning three-dimensional stuff. So like a sculpture essentially, but we spent a decent amount of time for at least a part of that semester in the wood shop. Or I guess people, it wasn't just wood, people worked on all kinds of materials in there, but we were learning the tools, like the power tools for working with wood, so like a table saw, planers, things like that, and that was really cool, and it felt like it had so many possibilities. I did so terrible in that class. I think I like just passed it. It was awful. But anyway, it was the sad thing about that was that I actually tried really hard. I guess things just weren't really clicking for me, and no matter what I was doing, like my projects weren't turning out great. It was a time in my life. Long time ago. But anyway, I really enjoyed working with the tools. Like all of that made a lot of sense to me. And I would love to be able to do more building. I mean, even just building my own frames for my artwork. First of all, save a ton of money, but framing is so expensive, it's crazy. But yeah. One trick I have for framing, and this used to work a lot better than it does now because I think all these places have gotten onto it, but going to like thrift stores, resale shops, and finding nice looking or interesting frames there. Like like the art might be not good or some old kind of junky thing. If you can repurpose it, great. If not, whatever. But take the old art out, reusing that frame, because cutting a custom mat yourself, if you're able to do that, or even just getting a custom mat cut, is infinitely cheaper than having the whole frame and mat and all that done. So that is something that I've definitely done. I've reused frames of my own that have been used for something, and then like I had really nice frames for my senior thesis project in college, which is not work that was ever gonna be sold or go into a gallery or anything, you know. It just wasn't, compared to where I've grown, it's not what I want to be doing. I don't think that's sad, just a matter of approaching it in your own way. Yeah, that's true. Oh my god, there goes my brain. What was I saying? Oh lordy, okay. Yeah, I'd like to make yes, framing. So yeah. That's always a tricky thing. But if you even have access to like a table saw, you can get some pretty reasonable pieces of simple framing at Home Depot, and if you can at least get those mitered corners right, you can at least create like a very basic frame to hold a painting that doesn't need the glass and a rabbit for the glass in front of it and all that kind of stuff. So there is that. I bought a little like miter box. I ordered it on Amazon, and I bought these little like 1x2 inch pieces of birch from Home Depot, and that little miter box would not cut through it. And so now those pieces of wood, they live in my studio. They're over there behind the door. Yeah, you know, you try things. You try. Okay, water break. About ready to paint. I got all my paints down. We're about ready to go. Hydration. In between cups of coffee, you gotta have a little bit of water. Yeah, all things in reason, right? I think this is the brush that I want to start with. I'm gonna work on the neck a little bit. Let me actually just my brain for a second. Let's see if I can't pull up my reference photo. Hold on, give me a second. Somewhere. There we go. Okay. Now. Now, I just need to be able to see it while I still have all my other stuff open. 4,000 windows open on my computer later. No big deal. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I am going to work with the neck a little bit first. Like, I'd like to get that done so that when I work on a few other things, that can get dried so I can go back in with a tattoo and like kind of add some detail there. Like, work that up a little bit. Last stream, I just did a little bit of an outline, and I've actually gone over it with a little bit of a glaze of the skin tone too, to kind of like pull it back a little bit for the time being. So, okay. Mix up some kind of a nice light flesh tone here. Because for some reason, I think I keep getting, like, the neck should be very light, and I think I just keep pushing it a little too dark somehow. I want it to be a little less pink than some of the other skin tone, a little bit more on the warmer side. I went a little heavy on my medium. That allows me to do like more of a glaze kind of a approach on here. So I can just do some very light layers, ideally. I've lost the edge where the hair is here a little bit, but that's okay, because when I go back and add more detail into the hair, I can just paint that back in, so I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that really at all. One of the things I wanted to add in was like the little bit of the, you know, we have these like lines on our necks just from living primarily, but also from, oh, you know, using technology and stuff, that sort of the things that aren't good for our posture and such, just sort of accentuate some of that. But I wanted to bring that in here a little bit because that's just a little more natural. All right, that was a little too bright. Gotta tone that down a wee bit. Sort of, rather than painting in the line itself, I'm more like painting in what's around it, so that it's like a negative space in that, since I'm adding some lighter areas. Does anybody have any interesting plans for like some creative work for the new year? Anything in particular anyone is planning on working on? Or trying to learn or experiment with? Any new mediums, any new sort of thing? Oh, Mary Beth, hello! How are you? Happy New Year, Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. What you need is a shooting board. So after sawing, you can plane the oh, yeah, yeah. Yes. That's, absolutely. I need access to much better tools to be able to do anything really like that. Because what I have here, like I have what I can have for the space that I have, I guess. You know. Electric drill. I have some clamps and I mean I have manual tools like saw and hammers and a million wrenches and all that fun stuff. I mean, last summer, I was able to change the battery in my car, and I was, like, so proud of myself. Yeah, I like to be a kind of DIY person as best as I can. I like to be able to fix things and learn things, and it's very satisfying when it works, but there's a lot of limitations based on, like, space, you know, what's available in terms of what you can have for resources and tools. And there is a woodworking studio with a park district that's like run by, I think, some retirees from the senior center here. So the hours are really weird, but I really should be going and checking that out. I know when I was working like a regular 9 to 5, I could never go because their hours were like noon to 3 or noon to 4 or something like that on weekdays. But I could probably on certain days of the week work around those times now, since I kind of I'm setting my own schedule more or less. So I should look into that. I think you have to like take the safety course, the refresher, which is fine because it has been a long time since I've worked with any of those tools. I do have a Dremel and a heat gun and some things like that, which are nice to have. Evil Drawing, hello! How are you today? 2024 for me has to be the year of learning a sketch, sitting down to sketch and then not spending 5 hours on it. Oh yeah, loosening up. Loosening up is a great practice, and I have some suggestions for that. Don't let me forget. Love how she is looking at the camera. Did you know? Yeah, I kind of wanted that on purpose, where it's somebody who is like, that's what I looked for in my reference photo. Somebody who's kind of like slyly regarding you. A little aloof was kind of what I was going for. And I think we got it with this particular posture, and man, I'm just not liking this at all. Okay, anyway, now that I was looking at it through the screen, I need to... Not there yet. Okay, anyway. We're here. I nailed it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Good morning. If I don't... Oh, here. Hope you're having some peaceful, relaxing holidays, Mary Beth. Yeah, I had big plans for the week, but came down with a flu. Oh no, early in the morning after Christmas, nasty, still under the weather. Going to pull out the iPad and doodle. Even that seems like a lot. Well, take it easy and make sure that you give yourself enough time to heal. And just take care. It's okay. This is that weird week between Christmas and between the holidays and New Year's, where it's just like no man's land and no one knows what day it is and no one knows what's happening, and just take advantage of that. and yeah, try to just focus on healing. And yeah, if you feel up to sketching and things that you just enjoy, that's nothing wrong with that, of course. Why? Every now and again, some random thing will just give me fits, and right now it's her neck, which I just seem to not be getting where I want it. And I think I need to, like, speaking of loosening up, like, I need to do that here. Yes. Loosening up sketches for Rougers / Aeroset. There are a few good websites, and what you want to start practicing is kind of like what they call gesture drawing, which I'm sure you're getting into all this stuff. You probably have heard this, but there are a few like figure drawing websites. I will look them up, and I need to write this down because I'm not gonna, you don't know me, I don't remember anything. Paper, where's paper? Entire studio full of garbage and it's hard to find paper. Okay. And I'll share them on the next stream as well with anybody who might be interested, but okay, I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget. Figure, oh God. And then I pick an 8H pencil. Doesn't write anything. Okay. All right, that's regular. All right. Figure drawing gesture websites. I've known them, I've looked them up for other people, or I've used them and shared the links with other people before, but off the top of my head I can't think of them. But what you can do is set it so that you only have maybe 30 seconds to do a sketch, and then it's going to switch. It's not going to be that anymore. It's going to switch to the next thing. So flip your page, do the next one. And so what you're just focusing on is literally the gesture of it, the shapes, the lines, where is it going, where's the weight of it. So it really forces you to loosen up. Also, standing and drawing, if you can do it, is a great way to get loose, because then you can like really have more range of motion with your arm. And I'm gonna not hit the mute button on my mic while I'm flailing about like that. But loosening up, hold your pencil lightly. Don't grip it hard down at the tip, because then you get into this, which you don't want to do for loose stuff. So hold your pencil further back, hold it lightly, and you're just looking for loose drawings. And that will get you into a bit of a practice of just, yeah, that will help to get that kind of thing going in your mind. But yeah, start out really loose. Just look for the shapes, look for the weight of it, and go from there. And then you can add in more time. You can go to several minutes. And then you could even go up to 10 minutes to work on a sketch if you want. Like, you can time these out. When I first started the teaching, when I was doing the kids class, one of the first projects I did, which was almost more like a game for them, so they had a lot of fun with it, is I put all these random pictures. I had them on my phone, and I took my little cheapo projector in, and we turned off the lights. I had the projector with the pictures up, and then I was setting my watch for 30 seconds, a minute, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and we'd flip the pictures, and the kids were having a riot. They were freaking out. They're like, how can we do that? Then they're laughing and enjoying it, and just trying to get into the idea of, letting go. Do it with a rest 8 BH. Commit to the concrete. Oh my god, yeah, 8H. It's like I drew a line and nothing showed up, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. Well, thank you for the follow, Evil Drawing. Thank you. I tried that and hated it, but I did see people improve because of it. Yeah, it's not something you're gonna walk away with and have amazing artwork out of it, but it really is just an exercise to get used to being a bit looser and letting go a little bit. And then it's when you're actually working on your own stuff, you're not necessarily gonna be starting exactly that way, where you're doing a 30-second sketch to start with, but it just gives you that a little more looseness. Letting go of perfectionism is a part of it too. That's just another exercise in doing that. and like being willing to just let it be. Let it be what it's gonna be sometimes, and take what you can out of that experience, whatever's worth it. So, you know, so much, so much for drawing in that little bit of a tattoo design the other day, but that's fine. I can still mostly see it. Just getting so flat and I can't. There. Okay. Even just doing that helped a bit. It's trying to. I was getting so caught up in like getting these. Trying to get this shading right that I needed to let go. Like that was a perfect example of it. Let go, you know. Sometimes that desire for controlling so much of it is actually ends up hurting you. All right. And I completely lost, there's like a little bit of a shadow here, and I almost completely lost that from all my screwing about and mess making. And the further away from her face I get, the less I'm worried about it being very representational. Okay. There we go. My own little lesson and demonstration in letting go of trying to control everything, because so often it just doesn't work to your benefit unless you're like a super hyper realist artist. But even then, you have to be willing to let go of the control in the early stages to get your base to work off of right, you know? I agree, it isn't enjoyable for me, which is why I gotta force myself to sit down and do it. The payoff is huge. It's the sitting down part. Think of it like stretching before a workout. Like it's your warm-up. Like just do, you know, set a time for, like, I'm gonna do some of these sketches for 15 minutes, something like that. And that just, you know, to get you loosened before you get into the stuff that you really want to be working on, to your actual projects. That's one way to try it, to go about it. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's just like, it's just an exercise. So don't put too much into it. Don't put, I mean, you never know. You might find after doing it for a while that you like some really interesting things start happening that you want to like look into further, that you want to explore more. No, I thought I just got that paint on my easel, but nope, that's apparently been there. Okay. Better. Oh, some of the wood will be for turning. Oh, cool. I have one burl and a few that will have crutch figure. The straight grain pieces, I don't know yet, but so many possibilities. That's awesome. Gesture drawing is awesome. Use all kinds of different materials. My favorites are water-soluble graphite, fountain pen, brush pen, Caran d'Art, Neocolor, to aquarelle. Yeah, that's what another thing is. If you're using like ink, it's down. Like you're not gonna correct it. Once you put it down, it just is that. Charcoal's also great. That's kind of a fun one because you do have the ability to work it away too, and you can fill in large areas of like you turn your charcoal on the side and then you can get great big areas of shading right off the bat and then erase out a little bit of it, and that's kind of satisfying in its own right also. So a lot of options there. Then after, go back to the gesture and add water. Ooh, I like that idea. That's pretty cool. How dare you suggest me trying something that could lead to more art loves? I know. The gall, the absolute gall. I'm going to I just want to still create a little bit more of that. Okay. Getting there, but not there yet. Okay. I just don't want it to be flat. And that's kind of what I'm fussing with. I want there to be like I want it to still seem like, because her neck is such a big part here. I don't want it to be flattened out. So we're just kind of fussing around with that right now. Trying to get the right balance. Well, you guys see me struggle through all kinds of weird things that I get hung up on, but that is a very real part of the creative process. It's never just, I didn't even break a sweat while I created this beautiful artwork. It's never that. It's never that. That ain't real. That's part of it too. Spray can gesture drawing? Ooh, that'd be really loosening up. I like it though. Yeah, that's something with like the bigger your tool is, also the less control you have. So if you're using something absolutely like, you know, those giant markers that have like the ½ tip and things like that. I'm using pastel pencils at the moment on this quote-unquote sketch, only using 4 values. Nice. Derwent pastel pencils are amazing. Do recommend. I do have some Derwent pencils. I don't think I have their pastels. I love watching you struggle. It makes me feel not alone. Now, I also love your work. This one has come so far. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. It is... I just really try to be very real in showing how it is to get there. It ain't pretty. Most of the process is not pretty. And sometimes you don't realize what isn't working at first, and you kind of just have to start doing some things before you can point it out, before you can like put it into words and understand why. And also the interesting element of working this way where I can see over here on my screen what you guys are seeing, because that's where I'm streaming from, makes an interesting difference in looking there versus what I see when I'm standing here 2.5 feet away from the canvas. And that is very helpful. And that's, again, like one of the reasons I absolutely recommend like standing up while you're painting or drawing, because I mean, even if you're sitting and you're this close to it, you're really only getting one perspective all the time. But when I'm standing up, I can just, you know, do that. It's nothing. Like, I can step back. And sometimes even further away to get a look at something. It's very helpful, because it's so easy to get, like, you're just so focused on this one little area and you think you got it nailed, but then when you step back, you realize that it doesn't work with everything else. Like, what you did there looks great, like when you're just looking at that, but you need the whole thing to come together too. So that's another thing about getting really engulfed in like the precision and the specifics of it, where you can so easily lose the big picture. And that's something we want to hold on to for the most part. Okay, and then when I go back in here, let's say I pick up some of my Payne's Gray and just clean up this edge a bit. I actually might not even want it quite that clean. I don't want it to be that hard of an edge. It attracts too much attention. And it's that slick high contrast, so I'll just soften it a bit. It's a little better. And I'll come back in and do more work into the hair in general. I just sort of placed some things in without really working it out yet. Like, I wanted to get some paint on where the hair is, because it's just that ability to see how the values are affecting each other and to know where it needs to be, but it's also yeah, I mean, I'm not really here to work on the hair right now. I'm just sort of seeing how light or dark anything wants to be, where I want it to go. I think I'd like a little strand kind of coming out a bit more than that. Maybe something that's just, you know, I'm just kind of blocking this in so I remember what I'm thinking, but a couple of strands that'll just sort of come loose of where the majority of the hair is kind of scooping back there, but some of it will. A few random strands will come out. And since this green that I have here is just sort of a placeholder, like some of it will stay, but a lot of it will go. Too worried about any of that. Just trying to see where things will be. And you can kind of see now, like, how many sessions have I worked on this? This is like my 5th stream working on this painting. at about 2-hour increments, all in all. It's all, takes a long time. Nothing happens very quickly. Like, it's, and I do bounce around and work on a little bit background, a little bit her, and it's always like that push and pull. Again, the hat is gonna need more work. All right, off to bed. Have a great day, and say bye to Jim and Mary Beth for me. Catch you next time, Gadget. All right, have a good night. Roogers, have a good time, and Happy New Year. Wear a mask with spray can, when spray cans. Yes, absolutely. Or do it outside. That helps too. But even then, you might still want a mask as well. When I had a moment where I was thinking I really wanted to experiment with resin, doing much more resin, that lasted all of 5 minutes, you know, but I thought about I considered getting like a full-on respirator for a while. I mean, I have from time to time done like a few little, if I just want to do a little bit of something, I'll get away with it in studio, but then you gotta have a fan in the window. You gotta protect your space around it because that aerosol stuff goes everywhere. And yes, protect yourself always. Okay. Before... Almost looks like an earring. I think we'll take a break on the skin tones because I think I am legitimately fairly happy with this because it's the axe tattoo is here. So that's going to be like, otherwise this whole area, this whole neck area is just so like one big spot, one big like attention grabbing area. But the point of that is that this tattoo is going to be there. I actually think I might want to make it bigger than the sketch that I had before. See, this is why you work light and in layers. I mean, it's like sketching. You sketch in light layers because then it's easier to erase. Just fade that out a little bit more. And now, what was there? Because, yeah, let's work on that. Okay. Also, I haven't used it yet. I got a new tripod. And that's the kind of thing that I'm pretty sure that like is not gonna matter at all to you guys. In terms of like it's very behind the scenes kind of thing, and I haven't set it up yet, but I'm very excited. It will allow me to have a lot more control with placement of my camera and a lot more refinement of it than what I have now, because right now I'm just using like I've just been using a very, very cheap, like $25 Amazon tripod, which has done the job. It has certainly done the job, but that's a little bit like it's an investment in the quality of the stream and how things will look for you guys, and I'm excited about that. Because there is an element of distortion. And I don't know how much of that like it really is all about the placement of the camera, but just the camera's like a little bit, it's a little bit like the eye level is about here and it's looking down a little bit, and then this painting is also tilted out a little bit, so it kind of like creates this stronger emphasis here, which when I'm looking at it in person feels a little bit more balanced than when I see it on the screen. But part of that also will be adding in this tattoo, how it's going to be, and then breaking this plane either with some hair or just some paint marks. And I gotta decide if I want, like I thought about going in and doing more with a hand, but If anything, not today, I think. Kind of just want to break from working with the skin tones. I've been fussing around a lot. And I also think this here, a little like crook of the arm from like before, it's, you don't quite see where the actual elbow crease is, but it's just that shadow where the, like, you know, you got your muscle there. That could be a little darker, I think, a little more contrast in there. A little bit, not a tremendous amount, but just a little bit. And there's a, okay, guys, I'm gonna make myself crazy. All right. One little thing. One little thing. I have no self-control. I just wanted to soften the line of the lip there a little bit, which would be easier if I was using a small brush, but okay, yeah. That's basically what one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to have that not be such a hard line right there. Yeah, not quite there yet. Let me, you know, different brush. That's what we're gonna do. Smaller brush. Something with a little bit better control for small areas. All right, just real quick, I promise. But this is so me. I'm gonna do this thing now instead of what I was doing. But wait, I want to, no, yeah, okay, we're almost there. Okay. I think I like that better. And when you're working with, especially the mouth, a little bit of the eyes, but especially the mouth and the corners, little adjustments there can really change, really change the expression of your subject. Very small, minor things can really adjust that, so I'm trying to always have to keep that in mind a little bit. All right. Yeah, that's about there. Oh, no. Okay. Nope. Something happened that I don't like. Where did that brush go? I'm knocking things over. Yeah, I did something weird here, didn't I? All right. That might be it. Almost. It's weird how the camera's does pick up different things than what I see with my bare eye. Like through the camera, there's a spot right here that's super dark. But when I'm just looking at it, I'm not really seeing that as much. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to control that a little bit. There should be a little darker coming down here. That's kind of the darkest shadow that I should have on her. Wow. And then, again, it looks nearly black when I see it on the camera. That's really interesting. Because that's not how I'm seeing it here. So I don't want it to be that dark. Okay. That's better, but if that's as light as it is, I need to make another adjustment. Because once you change one thing, it affects other areas as well. So then this should not be quite as dark as that. That should be the darkest area.
Your hair. Hands off Father, we let go. Hands off Father, we let go. Time is limitless. You are endless. Above us, below. Let go. 10737418224. Ignore me, sell it for 1824.
Didn't I say that I was going to stop working with this stuff like an hour ago?
0737. Don't be scared. The sky knows you're spared. Hands up, Father, we let go. Hands up, Father, we let go. Time is limitless. You are endless. Above us, below.
Getting lost in the fuss. Do I hear music when I work? Sometimes I play music, sometimes I forget to, and the music that I have playing during my streams, I actually don't hear, because if I were hearing it, you guys would get an echo. I just have it playing to you, so it's not boring when I get absorbed into it. I'm not paying attention to what I do. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I forget. I can't listen to podcasts or audiobooks because I get absorbed and I totally don't hear huge chunks of what's happening, and I have to rewind and go back. But yeah, and then it also depends like what kind of mood I want to create. Music is so good or bad for that kind of thing too. Gohan29, hello, how are you? I got Pedroff J93. I don't know if I said that correctly. Thank you for the follow. Oh, that was a little bit ago. I don't know if you're still here. Quite hard to find such an amazing traditional painter after the new Twitch rules. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. How's it going? I know about the stream music. That is why I asked. Oh, I need to update that section. I just threw some things on there. Can I be completely honest here? Of course. Yeah, the Twitch rules about nudity, right? I know I was kind of watching. I only just started also streaming on Twitch, and I do often work with nude figures a lot because it feeds into what my work is about. But yeah, I do need to know, to be careful about that. The things that I choose to work on. Does music help you getting into focus zone? It can. And it depends on so many things. It can be, a lot of it can be about the current mood that I'm in, what type of music I'm putting on, and what I want to achieve when I'm working. Also, go ahead and understand what you mean about how Twitch changed. I too am on the hunt for people working traditional. Oh, Did that create a huge, is it just about the nude thing you're referring to? I'm relatively new on Twitch, so I'm not sure. Like, that I know about because that just happened like a week ago, but if there's something else. Because not gonna lie, I have been feeling off, as in I'm kind of getting laid back and studying art. I'm finding a solution to it. Yeah, not such a personal thing. If you find that there's something that, like, I have different playlists for different kind of moods a little bit. I have a Zen playlist that is something that isn't like it's something you could do yoga to or meditate to. It's pretty chill and not a lot of like beats or upbeat or high beat per minute type of songs. Some of it's more ambient, but it's just things that can be there that might help me just get into like a relaxed state. So sometimes that's what I need to be able to focus. There are times where my brain feels a little chaotic. I do have ADHD, so this is quite often. I actually have some kind of like noise playlists, noise type music, some very like, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but very almost grating, bassy, and droning sometimes. And sometimes that helps quiet my chaotic mind, and it sort of like levels my energy. So sometimes I like that. It's all digital now and full of anime. I have kind of noticed that. Don't get me wrong, big Dragon Ball Z fan, but my need in art is not anime. It's hard to find someone with a brush on Twitch doing your kind of work. Thank you, and that's a shame. I wish more. I kind of even noticed that on YouTube though as well. There's a handful of people that regularly will live stream like traditional art, but there's not a ton, and that's also what appeals to me much more so. I'm like kind of a little old for the whole anime train, I will admit. I remember the early days of it where, you know, people would hunt down the VHS tapes to be like, you know, I'm cool, I've seen Ghost in the Shell, but it's such a trend. It's such a trend that's so ingrained in everything and what everyone wants to do. I honestly look forward to that trend passing, just to see more interesting ideas and more different ideas come up and see people kind of branch out more so. But that's just me. What do I know? Like, I completely relate to you when you say you get zoned in and don't listen to what's happening in the background. Yeah, it's a... Ooh, yeah, Heavy Rain playlist with thunder. Absolutely. That kind of thing was great too. Yeah, I can't pay close attention to something if I want music on. To that extent, it almost doesn't bother me when I don't have music on because I just get lost in what I'm doing anyway. But there are, like, if I go for a walk or I'm in my car driving, I have to have something. Like, I love music. It's always been a big part of my life, my love for music, but you just kind of learn over time what creates the right mood for you. If you have a playlist that makes you really happy and that's what you want to get when you're painting your artwork, you need to get in like a really like upbeat mood to like be in that place. Like a playlist that makes you just happy is not a bad idea either. Just a memory of Dragon Ball Z. Used to watch it as a child. Oh sure, that kind of like a nostalgia. And again, apologies for just coming in and asking for stuff. It's just I'm finding a solution. No, don't apologize. Like, it's why I'm here. I'm not just here to like, don't talk to me. I'm painting. Look at my amazing painting. I'm here to engage with people. This is what I love to do. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. I'm here for it. Absolutely. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I often have asked people also that kind of question, like what kind of atmosphere do you like to create? Because I guess like really you can think of it all in that. I'm lucky enough to have like a dedicated studio space in my home, in a spare bedroom here, like a half of a room I have. That's my space for creating. I haven't always had that, but there's a lot of idea behind creating a space that you really want to be in when you're working. So if you can like create a corner of your room or something that is just like a really comfortable place to sit, you have the things that make you comfortable around you, and it's just easy, like lower the bar of effort it takes to get started. Make it really inviting. Does stress, oh yeah, I've been working on building one. Sad to say, slowly working out. Yeah, that's how things go. That's how things, it's okay. Does stress affect art? Absolutely. I mean, every art is of your mind, right? It is something that comes from our imaginations, our thoughts, our ideas, our dreams, our moods. So stress absolutely affects our ability to create and what we create and how we're able to create. It can really lock us down because stress becomes anxiety, anxiety becomes paralyzing. So for sure, it's really hard to sometimes get into that place where you're like, you just want to sit and create when you're feeling a lot of stress. But at the same time, it's one of the best things you can do for stress. There's actually legitimately a ton of research into art being really good for stress and anxiety. It has meditative qualities if you can get into like a little bit of a flow, but even just sitting down and taking the time, there are so many benefits, like psychological and emotional benefits to art that even though, as I well know, I've struggled with anxiety for a very long time. It's hard. It can be hard to get yourself to sit down to do it at those times, but it's also one of the best things you can do for yourself. Maybe it's a stress then. It sure could be. My dog got sick 4 years ago and I was unable to sit down and draw. He passed away a few months back and I still have been unable to sit down and draw. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did try. It's hard. Grief is a huge factor in it as well. Like grief affects us so deeply. Yeah, I understand that maybe, I don't know, would it help? And I hope that I don't mean to be insensitive, it depends on how you take this, but what if you painted or drew your dog? Like as, to honor them. Like use honoring them and their memory as a way to bring you back. I have done that. I've done that before. When I've lost both pets and people that I've loved. Sometimes creating some kind of a portrait or some kind of artwork of that you use them as your subject matter to make a really wonderful, just capture something really beautiful about them. And sometimes that can be very cathartic. And if you look at it as like, this is my way of like doing this to remember you in the way that I want to remember you, it can be a very nice thing to do. So random thought, I don't know if that's like if it's too raw, if it's too upsetting. I understand that as well. I did think of that, but I'm scared to break down and leave it unfinished. I plan to start slow. For me, he was like my son, 14 years by my side. Absolutely. Absolutely. These little critters, they get into our hearts and everything. They become our everything. There's no doubt about that. Well, this is getting heavy. Let's talk about lunch. What did you have for lunch? I love streams like this because it's pushing me a little close. I'm buying new art supplies now. Yes. Yes. I love it. I get both sides of that. Yeah, we're getting a little heavy, but it's real, and it's the things that drive us to either create or maybe stop us from creating. So talking through it sometimes helps. But yeah, I actually haven't had lunch yet. I don't know where everybody is. I'm in the Midwest of the US, so it is not quite noon yet. It is 11:24. So I have not had lunch yet. I have had a bowl of bran flakes for breakfast with some blueberries and my coffee. Lots and lots of coffee. And I'm sure I will eat leftovers for lunch. yeah, buying new art supplies, that kind of helped too, you know, like that excitement to like have something new and to like play with it and try it out. You just gotta find your own drives, the things that get you excited about it. Okay, I'm curious. What is on the top corner where the two walls intersect? Oh, behind me? Back there? You're talking about? That is actually, I know, it looks like my background is so not nice looking. It's actually an owl. That was... It's a taxidermied owl that was my partner's friend's dad many years ago was like tossing it out or something and asked him if, and he happened to be there and asked him if he wanted it, so he's like, yeah, I'll take it. Like, I'm not all about the taxidermy thing necessarily, but it was like, you know, we didn't have it done, we didn't kill an animal, it was just like a thing that we've inherited, kinda. So, yeah, there's an owl in the studio. There's only part of this space is mine, part of this space is my partner's for his creative endeavors with music or whatever. And yeah, it's an owl. What did I do with that? What did I do with my brush? Okay. I'm gonna get out a liner brush. I got this little liner, which I think can be used for watercolor or ink, anything. It is kind of nice to get like some nice smooth lines, so I'm gonna give that a try. Does it bring letters? No, I wish. A little lighting under it can bring life to that background for the owl. Yeah, I think that the reason I don't do anything like that yet is just that the rest of the space is very messy at the moment, so I don't want to bring a lot of attention to it. Like, it's something that's on the list of New Year's goals, to get everything really like cleaned up and organized. And it's not that it's terribly disorganized, it's just, it's a small space. There's a lot of stuff. There's not always a great place to put it, so it's not the most attractive. And yeah, yeah, a nice looking background would be nice. I tried to have this like piece of fabric as a thing, but it's in the wrong place. You can't even see it, so eh. So you slap the brush like Bob Ross, or you don't. Yeah, Bob Ross is interesting. You know, did anybody see that movie with him in it? Or about, not with him in it, but about him? I'm kind of curious to see it. I haven't. I don't know if it's anywhere to like stream at this point. Probably gotta rent it because I think it was relatively new. I'm actually curious to see that. Like, growing up, I never really liked Bob Ross because I was like, I thought it was just very pseudo art, very like formulaic, but I was missing the point. Like, the point of what he was doing was trying to get people to like to lower the barrier to get into just trying it and enjoying it. And then there was that added thing of him just being very soothing to watch and very calming. All right, I'm going to grab a little charcoal pencil here. And this time I'm going to actually draw in where I want this tattoo to be before I start painting it. Because I kind of I want it to take up a little more space than I had in here originally, so I'm going to start at the same back point, but maybe we'll just make it bigger. So yeah, I appreciate Bob Ross, and it's very relaxing to put on if you just need something in the background to chill to, because he's got that voice, man. Too big? Maybe a little. So when you're drawing, if you're gonna draw on your paintings, to like block in something, definitely use like either a pastel pencil or a charcoal pencil, because it's very, like, it doesn't leave an indentation, and you can just very, very easily stamp a cloth and wipe it away. And after you paint on top of it, you can do that with any line that's still showing. So I highly recommend, if you paint and then you want to block in some area for some detailed thing that you're gonna add, highly recommend using either pastel pencils or a charcoal pencil or something, or even those white trap pencils. Let's maybe move it down a hair. That might be closer. Kind of want it to be a little exaggerated. That might be pretty close. Pretty close. I think I like that. There's no shot Owen Wilson plays Bob Ross. Yeah, Owen Wilson. I know he's not my favorite. But, yeah, I know. I have it on my list. I have to keep one in writing. Otherwise, I gotta go back. Otherwise, I never remember. But yeah, one of these days I'll check it out. I think Owen Wilson plays him. Paint 2023. See, I fucked it up with lead. Well, the only problem with lead is that it can be hard to remove once you have it on, especially if you press hard into it to see it, and then you can actually end up with a little bit of an indentation from it. So something really soft is helpful. Trust me, I've learned that lesson the hard way. I'm telling you these things because I have been there. I'm actually learning, to paint portraits for your character concept art career. Awesome. You can learn stuff here. Absolutely. I'm always, like, portrait art is something that I do a lot of. 2 years ago, I got started with, beginning of 2020. I did 100 portraits in 100 days. Because I needed something to make me feel hopeful about the world, so I did 100 inspirational people in 100 days. So I've learned a lot about portraits, and I still do a lot. I do kind of portrait-esque work. So yeah, if you have questions about anything like that, throw them at me. Oh, Mary Beth saw it. It was an eye-opener. He died penniless, which is crazy. The couple took advantage of him and his need to create. Very sad. His son, I believe, lost the court case. His life at the end was a living hell. He died of cancer. Trying to find you on Twitch, not found. Okay, I'm Lynell Ingram. Is it dash or down slash? On Twitch. So I'm dual streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, so I can see anybody, wherever you prefer to be, I will be there. Yeah, he did. I know that he was really taken advantage of, and I know like all the things that they sell, the Bob Ross like stuff that gets sold these days is just like enriching the people who own his image, and it's kind of sad. You're making the portrait in color. I struggle the most. Like you're going from pink to different skin colors. Yeah, I'm using a very limited palette for the skin tones. I just mixed some blues down here for the tattoo, but I'm using white, yellow oxide. This is quinacridone red, which has much more cool pink tones to it than if I use like a naphthol or a cadmium red. So for this particular piece, I liked it. And this is not black, it's Payne's gray. So it's not very dark gray with some blue tones to it. So everything outside of the hair, whether you see the blue here, I did add some cadmium blue in there and down here, but everything else is just those 4 colors mixed together. So sometimes having a very limited palette can be helpful for like kind of playing around. Yeah, color on people is tricky. Skin tones have so much going on. Not only trying to get all the shading and everything, but all the different cool tones and where it's pinker and such. And I would start, like, if you're uncomfortable with color, maybe just start with doing portraits in black and white and get used to just capturing the people, and then like kind of work with color, like build that up, kind of just playing around with how different ways to capture skin tones. I rarely ever use black unless I'm using it to like draw something on, and I almost never use browns. I just mix from those. Kilmerix did a parody of Bob Ross. Cracked me up. It's on her YouTube channel. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. Callie Merricks. Mercris. Oh my god. Mecris. I can read. Words are hard. There she is, Mary Beth. Hello. I'm comfortable with normal skin portraits, but these with the complementary colors. Like you're also putting yellow in there. Yeah, absolutely. That's where I'm getting any warmth. Like you're not seeing any like straight up yellow, but I mix with it to keep things from being just straight pink. That gives us, so a lot of the skin tones are just a variation of nearly all 4 of those colors mixed together, outside of the very light lights, the very light highlights. But even like here, there's some Payne's gray in there, but it's almost all some combination of all 4 colors go into almost all of the areas on here. So like the Payne's gray with the red give me purple, and it can be very dark. The Payne's gray with the yellow actually gives me this green color. So you can see how there's some blue to it. And then, yeah, and then the yellows help me get some of the yellow if you mix the Payne's gray and the yellow and a little bit of the red, then you get a more neutralized skin tones that are, like, I've leaned heavily into some of the pinks in different areas, but like if you're looking here, there's actually quite a bit of yellow mixed into some of the layers. She looks like you in some way. Oh, well. Thank you. I think that we all kind of paint ourselves in things a little bit, don't we? Yep. Callie me Chris. Oh, Chris Collins. As in call me Chris, but with a K in the beginning. I get it. Awesome. Yeah, that's a good watch. I'm gonna look, actually I'm gonna look that movie up. Maybe for this weekend. I watch sometimes some very terrible movies. I like really bad, especially horror movies. I love horror movies in general. It's just like, I don't know. It's endlessly fascinating to me why. I don't know why, but I do. Alright, so when you're trying to get a fine line, and I'm using a liner brush. I recently bought it. I don't know if I've ever used it yet. You want your paint to flow a bit. So I'm actually mixing it to a little bit of water to get me a nice consistency. That'll flow, and cross your fingers. Here we go. Here, I don't do this. Let me try. Oh, wrong way. Zoom in. Of course, it gets darker when I zoom in. So, quick adjustment here. Just so we can see better what I'm doing. I'm kind of tracing the lines I draw, so it probably won't look like a whole lot of right off the bat. Horror movies give me nightmares. Oh. All I watch is horror. Nice. I benched The Conjuring before Christmas, so I could see The Nun too. Yeah, The Nun too. I'd say it was better than the first one. I think it was fine. It's not my favorite, but it is pretty well done. I do think it is better than the first one. I watched yesterday this movie it was like 1990, and it has what's his name? I'm gonna say the wrong name. The guy that was in Rocky IV. I want to say Rutger Hauer, but that's somebody that I was confusing him with earlier. He's a lead in this, like, it's set up like it's this cop thriller, but there's aliens, and so it ends up being this movie that's like Highlander 2 meets Critters meets RoboCop, like all that kind of, not as silly as Critters, not as purposefully, but it's got a lot of those, like, these weird elements in it. Dolph Lundgren. Yes, thank you. That was him. He's the lead in it. And it was they called it Dark Angel, but it has an alternate title originally of I Come in Peace. And that was like my favorite part. The bad guy, alien, every time he killed a person, he'd go, "I come in peace." It cracked me up so much. I like dark, don't like to be taken to places that my brain can't deal with. I understand that. I think there's some element for me of liking that. Like, yeah, I want to have those, I want to feel something out of it. I want to be weirded out or uncomfortable. Like, I don't know why. It's endlessly fascinating to me, the fact that I like them so much. I want to binge watch Boardwalk Empire. Getting to the end of season 3, so at this point it's about 100 years ago. Yeah, I Come in Peace. Have you seen it? That's amazing. I knew what you were talking about. I've seen it a few times. My father and I watch horror movies. I love that. I've never seen it before. We just found out about it. Because it's got, like, it's not a Christmas theme, but it takes place at Christmas time, which they set up at the beginning and has absolutely no point after the very beginning. It's just like some music and a random character crashes into a lot of Christmas trees. And it's supposed to take place in, like, somewhere in Texas. I don't know. In a city. Random city. But yeah, I feel like something kind of weird. I don't know. I guess you could say it qualifies as horror. It's like sci-fi, action, thriller. Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of fun and silly. It made me laugh a lot. And then I'm a big fan of Mike Flanagan, who is a director who's done on Netflix, The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, and recently The Fall of the House of Usher, which I love all of those. I think they're outstanding. So I'm a big fan of him. But we found this movie of his from 2016, so like an earlier film. What was it called? Before I Wake, I think it was. Which had some interesting things and themes, but yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's fine. The lead character was annoying to me. Okay. I think this is going well. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm painting over the line. So once I finish it, and it's acrylic, so it dries super fast, and I wipe away the what's left of the charcoal line. Be able to see. Might be not the deal. And this is just the outline. I want to add like some line work and design work inside of it, so it looks, you know, kind of like a classic tattoo. And I'm generally not real good with straight lines. I always wondered how people could do like pinstriping, where they have these like insanely long, smooth lines that are perfectly straight. The people that can just do that, they just like hold their hand and get these crazy straight lines. How? It's the craziest, most incredible thing. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. My favorite Xmas horror is called The Perfect Storm. Oh. Storm of the Century. Okay. I get the two mixed up. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Where's the pad I had earlier? Movie. I'm gonna write it down. Storm of the Century. I will check it out. I love checking out recommendations for horror movies. I don't know a lot of people who really enjoy them as much or watch them as much as I do. I this year, like, I really have always liked Black Christmas, the original Black Christmas movie, and this year I watched that as well as the 2 remakes. Ooh. You go from having a very good, well-done movie, like overall a very well-done movie that talks about like these important themes for the time that weren't being talked about in other movies, and it's really well shot and it's well constructed. And then, oh, you got these 2. Ooh. Both terrible for alternate reasons. 1999 Horror by Stephen King. I'm assuming it doesn't have the greatest ending. I don't know. I do enjoy some Stephen King. I actually share his birthday. I mean, I know he hated the film, but The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick Shining, is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I even very much liked Dr. Sleep. I thought it was very well done in a way to like follow up. Like, how do you follow up a Stanley Kubrick movie and not have it be just awful? But I thought that that director did quite well. 3 hours long. That doesn't surprise me. So I think one of my favorite Stephen King movies is, well, I'm not going to be able to remember the name. It's one where all these guys go on like a getaway trip in a cabin and things go nuts. What is that? I have the world's worst memory when it comes to like names and things. I really do. Have a long, like, I actually log the movies I watch. I use the Letterboxd app because I don't remember otherwise. I use it to log the movies I've watched, as well as like I keep a watch list on there too of things that I haven't seen yet that I would like to see, because I will forget otherwise. This is going a little bit difficultly. If anybody's worked with acrylic paints, they get tacky after a while. Like, they start to even dry on your palette after probably like an hour and a half. And we are at that point. It's been about an hour and a half since I put them on my palette, I think, pretty close to that. So they're trying to get it to flow nicely is a little bit of an uphill battle, but I also am not trying to be perfect. That is not my concern. I just want it to work. Alright, we're getting here. Once I finish this line, I'll just give it a couple minutes to finish drying, and then we'll wash that off and see where we are. And right now, like, the line work of this shape is going to be really, it's going to seem very much important, but once I start adding in fine detail, it won't be. I'll add in some of like the little kind of line worky that goes with the traditional tattoos. There hasn't been a show recently that I've been really excited about watching. I have a hard time convincing myself to sit down and commit to watching a show. Especially if it's something that has a lot of seasons, like the one season programs, like the Mike Flanagan's Fall of the House of Usher, which if you haven't seen it and you're a Edgar Allan Poe fan, I do recommend. I think it's quite well done. Those I like, because it's like one season, 10 episodes, or whatever, 8, 10, 12 episodes, and the story is told like that. I want there to be a clear arc. I want to know that there's, like, my character has gone through their growth, and there has been a thing that has had to be dealt with, and it has been somehow dealt with in some kind of satisfactory conclusion, and then the story can end, and I can move on with my life. So it's hard for me to otherwise anymore be excited about watching a show. Okay. Think we might be dry. Seeing if anything's coming off. Seems to be dry. Okay, I'm going to very gently, because it is, even though it's dry, it isn't set, so gotta be very careful going in there to clean off the charcoal. Try to erase that away a bit. Can't be too aggressive, or I will mess up my lines. Oh, that shape got a little weird. It's fine. It's fine. It'll work. Actually, probably works better for it to be a little, like, where it gets real thin there. Like, having it have some curve and not just much straighter is probably more... It's probably better for the composition. Not be so flat. Alright, that's basically it. After this, like, sets after, like, a few hours, I can go in there and, like, kind of more aggressively clean it up. There's still some shadows of lines on there that I don't want to... If I push too hard, I will move that paint. And then... Why is there a palette knife on the floor, and where did I put that brush? Okay. Everything's always a mess and a little bit of chaos. Just... Yeah, this brush is very soft and very thin. Oh, there's my cat. That's it. And it's barely wanting to pick up this paint now. Are you here to say hi? He always shows up about now because it's getting close to his lunchtime, which is noon. So he's always looking for looking for me to finish what I'm doing so I can feed him. He knows exactly what time his meals are. It is incredible how accurate he is to time telling in that sense. Well, you know, priority is food. But also, it's not a bad thing because I think I could almost very easily forget to eat myself. So by him being like, all right, it's lunchtime, it's dinner time, whatever, it kind of reminds me even to eat when I should. Because I'll be that person that is like absorbed in what I'm doing, the time's going by, all of a sudden like my hands are shaking so bad I can barely paint. I don't know what happened, what's wrong with me? Oh, I haven't eaten in 6 hours or something. That's me, for sure. Okay. Just sort of smoothing out the line a little bit. I guess I'm not that worried about it being like perfect, but can have a little like, smoother consistency is fine as long as I'm here with this brush. Might as well. So this is still a reference. I'm sure it might make sense that it's a reference for Little Red Riding Hood. Red beanie, axe, some of the phrases and imagery on the side. The actual wolf will come in later as an element. Big bad wolf. I am refining how I want to handle that. I want to practice that. It's going to be a drawn-on element. Not quite like this. I'll use a marker. It'll be more of a loose kind of graphic style. Yeah. And I think I'm getting, you know, relatively close to being ready to do some of that kind of thing. So I need to figure that out before my next stream. I need to decide if I want to do any transfer print on here. Because if I do, I would prefer to have it like on here and done before the stream so that I can do kind of like the reveal at that time. Yeah. Someone's coming to yell about lunch. No, it's just about noon. He'll be back. He rarely ever stays with me in here when I'm streaming unless, like, I'm the only one home, then he will. I think my last stream he, like, laid right in front of my feet between me and the easel, which was, interesting. He's my little studio assistant. Although, yeah, he just thinks it's very boring to be in here with me mostly. So he doesn't hang out as often. He used to try to help me paint when I would sit on the floor and paint before I got this easel set up. And that was always interesting. Dangerous for him. There was at least one occasion where I had to like grab him and run into the bathroom to wash some paint off of his paw because he got a little too involved. Yeah. Man, I think I probably will need to eat soon too because I'm getting a little bit of a shake, which I tend to do. I always have a little bit, and it's usually not an issue until I'm trying to do something really detailed like this. For the most part. But it definitely gets worse if my blood sugar is starting to get low. I think that's probably... I'm gonna be kind of satisfied at this point. With where I've got this. I would like to let these lines really dry well. Just tweak this a little bit here. And then I'll decide like how detailed, what I want to actually do in there for the detail work that I mentioned. And I might draw a little bit of that out before I go in. Oops. So yeah, before my next stream, really get this down, what I want to add in here for some little like refined detail works. Probably some filigree on the handle, maybe some straps and detail in the in the handle or on the blade. Filigree on the blade. There we go. And then I might refine a little bit in here, but I'm really close to being where I want to be with all the skin. Like I said, a little bit in the eyelids, I think a little bit here, possibly a tiny bit in the hands, but getting really close. And then I can work on some maybe more detailed, or decide if I want to add any more detail work in the hat, and it's the background. So I will actually also, I'll be looking for some more paper bits that I might utilize. Work out my wolf, work out what's going to get added in the axe for detail, and then decide if I want to do any transfer prints. So that's what I need to do before my next stream. That's what I would need to get things set up for. But that will be on Monday night. At least for me, it's Monday night. It will be at 7 p.m. Central Time, US Central Time. I'll be back at this for a couple more hours of working and making a mess and chaos and chatting. And yeah, yes, thank you, Marie Beth. Everybody have a wonderful new year. And I hope that you have all the best creative ideas and inspiration, and just all the good things for everybody. Thank you for joining me and hanging out in my studio for a little chaos and work, and I hope to see you next time. Everybody, thank you so much, and bye.